So today we are going to understand the performance management or the performance appraisal process. So performance management is a process between a manager and their employees where manager evaluates the performance of their employees basis on these evaluation criterias. So these are typical evaluation criterias, so which is actually followed, which which the companies use across which the companies across the industries use. Okay, they can vary slightly, but more or less they are this is how they look like. Okay, so manager measures the performance of their direct reports using these evaluation criterias. Okay, now how they evaluate the performance of the employees using a rating scale which we call review rating, and this is a rating scale. So rating scale is basically ratings given, numeric ratings given uh, in a certain order. So for instance, we have numeric ratings here 1 to 5, where 1 is the poorest rating and the 5 is the highest rating. It can also be reversed in some cases. It's not a hard and hard and fast rule that it has to be in this way. In some cases, in some organizations, 5 can be the worst rating and the 1 can be the best rating. Okay, and each of these numeric values have a specific meaning. They have a label, right? So 1 doesn't meet, which means it's the most poor performance, and 5 means far exceeded, where employee has really performed exceedingly well. Likewise, 4 exceeded, 3 fully met, 2 partially met. So the labels can also vary from a company to company. Okay, so they are not like every company will use this label, right? So now, when the evaluation is done by the manager, these evaluation criterias or performance criterias are given a rating based on how employee has performed on all these criterias. Okay, so for instance, core values, let's say employee is rated as far exceeded, which means employee has really done well to get that far exceeded rating as far as the core values are concerned. Let's say on competencies, employee is given fully met, which means employee neither has performed bad nor good. Fully met, it has just met the expectations. So like that, all of these criterias are actually evaluated based on using these rating scale using this rating scale. Okay, so we'll see how that happens. Okay, so now let's see these evaluation criteria one by one and how do they look like. Okay, so we'll first see core values. Right now, some big organizations, they would actually evaluate their employees on the core values, but a small organization, they don't really prefer to. But the core values is one of the evaluation criteria that exists in many cases. Okay, so now what are these core values? So every one of you, if you're working for a company, then every company has some set of principle or values that they follow. So it's like principle, nothing materialistic, nothing specific, nothing economic, nothing in terms of business. It's just principle, moral values, right? So every organization has that, right? For instance, you as an individual would also have some principles in your life, that you will always pay tax honestly, you will never lie to anyone, you will never cheat on anyone, right? So you have, let's say, these 3 set of principles that you would live your life on, right? And you would always follow this principle no matter what. Like that, every organization have these principles, set of principles that they follow, and they also expect their employees to follow those principles, right? So in organizations or in companies, you have these set of principles. All obviously every organization will have their own set of principles. So I'm just giving an example here, right? So this is how principle or core values might look like: openness, team spirit, willingness to act positively, customer focus, respect for others. So what your company wants that you also follow these core values. You don't dispute these core values. You don't contradict these core values. You should always be aligned with these core values. Okay. So it's more of an ethical issue, right? It's from ethical point of view, right? The core values. So every employee must follow these core values, right, on day-to-day basis, and then at the end of the year they are measured how they have performed on these core values, right? So that's how they are actually evaluated as part of the performance criteria, right? So this is the first performance criteria, core values. Now let's go to the second one, which is goals. Now goal is different from the core values. Goal, actually, then there are two types of goals. One set of goals are company goals, which are applicable to all the employees. So during the performance appraisal process, company might have one or two goals which it wants its employees to follow across the teams. No matter which team they belong, they must achieve that goal. So it's company level goal. Second one is employee or team level goals, right? So they are more trickle down to the individual teams, and they can vary from team to team. So typically within a team, the goals are common across the employees of that team. But but in a different team, those goals can be different as compared to the first team, right? But within a team, the goals will be same in most of the cases, right? So that is called employee level goals. So the company level goals and the employee level goals, and typically we have these kind of goals. Okay, obviously this is just an example. It can vary from company to company, industry to industry, right? So now goal is something which one must achieve by working throughout the year, and they must achieve this goal towards the end of the year. Okay, so it's a target. It's a target that employee has to achieve, right? So now this target obviously help organization grow, right? So if employee is achieving their goal, then at the end of the day they are helping organization to grow. They are helping organization to earn more profit, grow their business, increase their revenue. So indirectly it is actually for the company, right? Economically, from the business perspective, it's nothing related to ethical. It's These are not ethical, these are not principles, these are not values. They are more targeted towards the profit of the company, the business of the company, right? So mentoring and coaching is one of the goals that employee has to achieve. So at the end of the year, employee will be evaluated how much they have mentored and coached their fellow team members. Learning and knowledge sharing, whether they have, how much knowledge have they shared with the fellow team members. So all these are actually goals that one must achieve. Okay, the next one is competencies. Okay, now what are the competencies? So competencies are actually abilities. So if employee performs his or her duties, then how they perform those duties, right? That is actually measured by competencies. So if employee is doing a certain task, then how are they doing that task, right? How productive they are, how efficient they are, what is their communication skills, what is their interaction skills with the customers. So competency basically measures the ability of employees, right? So this is actually so in this performance criteria, employee is rated on their abilities or the competencies. So if they are performing certain tasks, then how they are performing their task, what is their approach, right? uh, where they are adaptable, where their approach is a smart, where their approach is smart, or it's traditional approach, right? So all that is measured in the competencies. So it's how, if employee is doing certain tasks, then how they are doing it, whether they are using their competencies or not, and if they're using their competencies, then what are those competencies. So basically a certain set of competencies are identified for a particular team member, for a particular team, right? So again, just like goals, the competencies are also specific to teams, right? So so some 6 or 7 competencies are identified, and then employee is measured on those competencies when the performance evaluation happens. Okay, now last but not the least, job responsibilities. Now this is, it's rare actually, because the first 3 are, they cover more or less everything. So job responsibilities is really rare that you will see in an organization that it is used as a evaluation criteria. But nevertheless, let's say we have this. Now just before this we saw competencies. So if employee has given a task, then how they perform the task. So it is actually the what part of that task, not the how they perform, that is measured using the competencies, but what they perform, that is actually measured using job responsibility performance criteria. So each job has its own set of responsibilities, right? That really depends on the job title, right? So whether, so if let's say employee has 6 or 7 job responsibilities, right, that they would very well be aware of, because when they join the organization they know what are their job responsibilities. So whether they have been able to perform those duties or not, whether they have been able to complete all the tasks or not, or they, let's say they have 6 7 tasks or duties as part of their job, they perform only 2 or 3 one of them, only 2 or 3 of them, the rest they don't really care, right? So all that is actually measured how each employee has been able to perform their duties or their job responsibilities. Okay, so all that is measured under job responsibilities. So it's the what part actually, not the how is measured during competency. So now, so we have seen the evaluation criterias, right? Now we will see a typical performance appraisal cycle in its timeline. Okay, and we'll understand how the whole process works in a span of, let's say, 1 year or 1 year 2 3 months. Okay, so typically we have, so in the performance appraisal process we have a performance cycle. Okay, appraisal cycle that we call it. Now the appraisal cycle for regular employees is annual. It spans for a year. Okay, so let's say for in the year 2020, the appraisal cycle for companies 1st Jan 2020 to 31st December 2020. Now this also can vary from organization to organization. Some organizations or some companies, they have their appraisal cycle from April to March. Some other might have from July to June or October to September. It really varies from company to company, and in some cases the appraisal cycles are actually aligned with their financial year. So for example, in India, many of the organizations have their appraisal cycle from April to March, which is aligned with the financial year, right? So but let's say in our case it's from January to December. Now another thing, so appraisal cycle can also vary in terms of its length. So for regular employees, most of the organizations will have 1 year long appraisal cycle, but smaller appraisal, big organization can also have mid-year cycles. So one, they will have this annual cycle that will always be there, but in addition to the annual cycle, organizations can also have smaller cycle or mid cycles, we call them mid appraisal periods or mid period. It can be named anything, right? So a mid period can be of half yearly, which happens twice a year, right? So a mid-year, also a mid-cycle will happen in the middle of the year. Okay, all right. So and a quarterly appraisal cycle. So quarterly will happen every 3 months. Okay, so 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 mid-year cycle happens in most of the cases. Okay, even in the service-based companies, they have mid-year cycle. Okay, so what happens, employees will be evaluated on their performance at the middle of the year, and then they will again be evaluated at the end of the year. Okay, so this is to actually evaluate an employee's performance more accurately, more efficiently, right? Some product-based companies can also have performance appraisal cycles every quarter in addition to their annual cycle, right? This happens in the product-based companies. So every quarter they have a performance cycle where employee will be measured on their performance, and then there will be a final appraisal at the end of the year. So it can really vary. Okay. Now this is for the regular employees. Okay. But what about the new hires? So let's say a person joins in the month of September somewhere here. So organizations can also have a probationary performance appraisal cycle for the new hires, especially only for the new hires, because when the new hires joins, it can join at any given month, right? It can join on September or November or February or June. So no matter which month they join, some organization will want that they must initially complete their 6 month of probationary performance appraisal cycle. And after completing their 6 month probationary performance cycle, let's say if they join on September 2020, then obviously their probationary performance cycle will actually go over the regular company annual cycle, right? So it will somewhere be here. So only after they complete their probationary performance cycle, then they can be switched into the regular annual cycle. So if they're joining in the month of September 2020, then for 6 months they will be on the probation cycle, and they can only be in the regular annual cycle from the next cycle onwards, not in the current cycle. In the current cycle they are on the probation, but from the next cycle, so the next annual cycle will be from 1st January 2021 to 31st December 2021. So they can only be part of the regular annual cycle from the next year onwards, from the next cycle onwards. So this is just one example for the new hires. Okay, some companies would want that they will not have any probationary cycle. So let's say they join in the month of October, or let's say they join in the month of July. So they can immediately be part of the annual cycle, but their rating and all will be prorated. So because the regular employees are actually measured for the whole year. So let's say if somebody is given a rating of 4, then that rating is actually 4 for the whole year, right? But if somebody joins in the middle of the year, so although they are part of the regular annual cycle, but their rating will be prorated. So even though they have performed as per the rating 4, but they will not be given rating 4. Or they can be given rating 4, but their appraisal or the salary increment will always be prorated. So there are many variables here. There can be various factors that affect the cycles. There are many cases, scenarios, new hires, regular employees, mid-year period. There can be n number of cases, and I just given you a overview of it. So now, keeping all that aside, let's say we have one annual cycle for the regular employees, and the annual cycle is from January till December. Okay, so we call it as performance appraisal cycle. Okay, now, so for this performance appraisal cycle, the evaluations are done in the month of starting from January 1st January till 31st January. So at the end of the performance year, the employees and manager, they are notified that you have to complete your self-evaluation, and manager has to complete the manager evaluation, and the entire process has to be completed by the end of January. So for this performance appraisal period, the evaluations are done typically in the month of January. It can also span for 2 months. It can also span for 3 months. There is no hard and fast rule. Every organization has their own rule. So the evaluation, the meeting with the employees, the finalization of ratings, and approval from the higher management, and the final rating, all that activity, the actual activity where the performance appraisal is done for this period, happens in the month starting after the end of the period, after the end of the appraisal cycle. So it can happen in some cases, they can be given only 15 days to employees to complete this entire process, right, where employee and manager has to do everything and complete the whole process by the by the in 15 days. But it's very rare. Mostly at least 1 month is given for this whole process to complete, because it takes time, right? A manager also has, let's say they have, let's say 10 or 15 employees under them, then they have to basically complete the evaluation for each one of those employees, right? So it takes time. So generally it is given at least a month to complete. Okay, so after this whole thing is done, the rating is finalized. That rating is actually passed to the compensation, and then a salary increment is given. So a salary increment is basically effective from the 1st April 2021. I mean, from the next financial year. Okay, so if we are for the performance of employees during this period, the increment is given on this period, and that increment is effective from the month of April 1st. There is no hard and fast rule from when the increment should be effective. It can also be effective from 1st January itself, right? I mean, it can vary. But the point here is that here the ratings are finalized and a final rating is given, and based on the rating the increment is given. Now that is actually part of the compensation module. So rating, once the rating is finalized, the job of the performance management module is done. Now how much increment is given based on those rating, all that is decided in the compensation module. It's not decided in the performance module. Performance module is only to measure the performance. So this is how a typical performance appraisal cycle looks like. Now we will see in detail how this whole things work. Okay, so what happens? The first thing that happens, so we are again talking about this performance cycle, 1st January 2020 to 31st December 2020. Okay, so we are still talking about this cycle. So when everything will happen, and at each stage what all will happen, all these activities now we'll talk about. So the first thing that happens is that somewhere in the beginning of the performance cycle, these steps will be performed. So these two steps: review initiated, manager defines review criteria. Okay, so somewhere in the beginning of the performance cycle, so it can be in the month of January, so in a span of 2 months from 1st January 2020 to 28 Feb 2020, or it can also be in a span of just 1 month. So somewhere in this period these two things will happen. So review initiated, so what will happen? Review initiated is basically when the performance review document, that review document, right, the electronic form that employee fills during their self-evaluation, and manager also fills during their employee evaluation, right? So that document is actually initiated in this step. So that happens, the first thing that happens is this one, that document is initiated, or the performance review is initiated. Okay, now this initiation can be done by any means. Okay, so in big organizations it is done using a job or a process, where a process is run, and that process basically triggers the review document or review form or the performance appraisal for all the employees. So if an organization has 10,000 employees and all of them are part of the performance appraisal process, then that process will basically initiate the performance review for all those 10,000 employees. In some cases it is done by the managers of respective teams. So let's say there is an organization of 15,000 employees, and there are, let's say, 1,000 managers. So each one of those managers will basically initiate the performance process for their own employees or for their own teams. So it is done by the manager. But review has to be initiated in the beginning of the year. So it is done using a process, or it can be done by HR admins for set of population. So let's say there is a finance department, there is a HR department, there is a marketing department. So admin from each one of those departments would initiate a performance process, this performance process. So there can be various ways in which this can be initiated: a job at the manager level or at the admin level. Okay, now after this is initiated, and still within this period only, but after this is initiated, manager would actually organize a meeting with their team members and explain all these performance criteria. So when I say review initiated, means the criteria are actually defined. But in this step, manager basically sets up meeting with their employee direct reports and explain those criterias, so that employees are aware of the the criteria on which they will be evaluated at the end of the year, so that they know how they need to perform, what are their goals, what competencies they will be evaluated on, right? What are their job responsibilities, what core values they have to follow for the whole year, right? So all that is explained in detail by a manager to all of their direct reports, so that everybody knows what they need to do. Because if they don't know all that, right, then they might not perform even if they wanted to, right? So that's why it is very important to explain the evaluation criteria at the beginning of the year, okay, after the review has been initiated. Okay, now after this done, after this is done, right, then their evaluation is actually monitored. It's not they are not measured, but it is monitored. So manager would obviously and then that really depends how a manager wants to do it, whether they want to do it on regular basis, they want to monitor the performance of employees on a regular basis, or on a certain interval. All that actually depends on them, but nothing will be official. It's just that for this whole remaining year, or for the whole year, they will be just monitored, employees will be monitored. Now after this is where the next thing happens. In this period, we have already understood this, right? What happens in this periods? So this is where the evaluation and the ratings and everything else is given, right? So these are the series of things that happen. So these are individual steps in this whole process. So in this period, all these things are done. So this is basically the evaluation period. We call it as an evaluation or appraisal. So the first thing that happens is self-evaluation. Okay, so in the self-evaluation, employee basically has to rate their own performance. Okay, so it is up to employee how they rate themselves. If they feel that they have performed exceedingly well, then they would be actually writing their evaluation comments, and they will be giving rating on each one of those performance criterias accordingly. So when I say self-evaluation, it means that employee will have to rate on those evaluation criterias, right? And they have to give a certain rating. So let's say employee thinks that they have done very well in the core values evaluation, in the core values criteria, right? So they can rate themselves how much, so they can rate themselves however they want, right? They can rate themselves as the far exceeded the top rating. They can give themselves a top rating. Likewise in the competencies also, if they feel that they have done very well, then they can give the top rating. So I mean, in most of the cases, employee always gives the top rating to themselves, but that doesn't really matter. Their own rating doesn't count. It's just that they are given an opportunity to express themselves, to actually if let's say if they're giving them a rating of 5, which is a which is a top rating, then they have to justify that also, right? They have to basically mention all those instances which can justify their top performance. But if they just give the rating 5 but they don't really give any substantiary proof of that, that on what basis they have rated themselves 5, then that doesn't really hold any ground, right? So that is why they are given an opportunity to express themselves, so that they can bring in all the instances from the whole year where they have, which can actually prove their ratings and all, which can justify that rating. So they have to bring in all those examples, email, the acknowledgement email or the appraisal emails from the clients, from the manager, from the fellow team members. So all that is actually an evidence. So they basically have to accumulate all that evidence from their email, from various documents, to actually justify the rating that they are giving to themselves. Okay, so this is happen in the first step. And they have to rate themselves on all the performance criteria: core values, competencies, goals, and job responsibilities. So how they have performed in each one of those criteria, and they have to rate themselves on each one of those criteria. Now the next thing that comes is the manager evaluation. This is the main thing. Okay, so now this is when manager actually evaluates their employees, because manager knows everything, right? They know which employee has performed well, which employee has performed average, and which has performed poorly, right? So they will basically, in each one of those evaluation criteria, they will rate each and every employee, and they will also give comments, not, they will not give comments in detail, they will just write generic comments. So their comment basically will be on top of the employee's comments. Okay, so after employee completes their self evaluation, it will go to manager, right? So manager will basically provide their own comments. They will basically override the rating. So here manager overrides the rating. So if employee has rated themselves 5 on each of the evaluation criteria, then manager will basically override all those ratings. So they give their own rating, and the rating of the manager is the one which counts. Okay, it's not the rating from the employee. So if manager feel that some of the ratings are outrageous, employee really doesn't deserve those ratings, then they can very well dispute that, and they can override that. If they feel that okay, one or two ratings that employee has given themselves is actually true, the manager feels that employee has done that well, that they deserve that rating, then they can go along with that rating, but they would most likely override most of the ratings. Okay, because that's how it happens generally. After manager is done with their evaluation, then manager actually conducts a one-on-one meeting with the employee, with each and every employee. And because when manager is evaluating employee cannot see how manager has evaluated unless that is shared with the employee, and that is what is done in this step. So what happens in this step, manager would conduct a meeting in which employee will be part of that, and manager would basically share the ratings and the comments that manager has given to that employee. Okay, and then manager would show, okay, this is how I have rated you, this is how I have evaluated you, so these are your ratings, whether you are okay with these or not. And if let's say employee is not okay with some of the ratings, all that will be discussed in this step itself. So let's say if employee is not okay with one or two ratings, and employee is able to actually convince manager that okay, yeah, whatever manager has rated is actually not correct, so it will be changed in this step only. Okay, so this is basically discussion between employee and manager, where manager shares their evaluation and rating that they have given to employee with the employee, and if there is any change needed that employee is able to convince manager, that then it will be done in this step. Okay, so once this step is done, once employee is fully satisfied on their rating, or even if they're not satisfied, then employee will be actually sent, the performance evaluation will be sent to employee for their acknowledgement. So employee has to acknowledge that these ratings that are given to you, the evaluation comments that are given to you, you are okay with these or not. So this happens in this step. So in this step, employee will basically acknowledge the ratings that are given to them. Okay, so once employee acknowledges that, then the next step is really optional. In some organizations, this is sent to a higher manager. See, here there is one manager, so this is the direct manager of the employee, but this approval can go to the manager of this manager, right? So this approval can go to a manager or a director, somebody who is higher authority. Okay, so this approval step is when the employee acknowledges the ratings and everything, then it is sent to the manager of the manager for approval, or you can call it L2, we call it. So this is the L1 direct manager, and this is the L2 the manager of this manager. So it will be sent to them for approval, a final consent that okay, this is how we have given the rating to employees, whether you are okay with this or not. So this manager will be able to override the rating. So they will have that much access to override the rating that is given to employee. But it happens very rarely, because when manager does the evaluation, at that time only they discuss with the manager too. So manager discusses with their manager as to how to rate these employees. So that level of understanding happens at this step only. So it's just a formality, here, that the approval is needed. So here manager too will simply approve it. Okay, in some cases they might disagree, they might realize that okay, this rating is not correct, so they can very well override it. Okay, and once they override it, the next step is finalize. So finalize is done by HR admins, or it can also happen on its own when this manager too approves this. So it really depends from it really how ERP software does it, right? In PeopleSoft, once manager 2 approves this, it gets finalized automatically. There is no additional step needed. In some other ERPs, such as Kronos or SuccessFactors, HR admins will have to log in and they'll have to click on finalize. So HR admins will have to finalize this document or the performance appraisal. So then only the whole process will be finalized. So it's really a matter of how a particular HCM software designs this. So it's a matter of design. Okay, so if it doesn't happen automatically, then HR admins, they will have to basically come and finalize it. So this is done by HR admins, okay, administrators. Okay, and once they finalize this, the whole process is completed. The ratings that are given to employees, they are actually applied. So once the process is finalized, an email notification can be sent to the employee notifying them of their ratings. Okay, so this is how this whole process works. All right, so this is the whole life cycle of a performance appraisal process. We have seen, and all these steps are done within this period only. You see this blue line here, so all this happens within this period, right? So from 1st January 2021 to 31st January 2021, all this is done within this period. As I explained you, it can vary from organization to organization. And once the finalize happens, the ratings are given, and then the ratings are passed over to the compensation module, and the compensation module awards a certain salary increment, which is effective, let's say, from 1st of April 2021, which can also vary from company to company. Okay, so subscribe HCM Simplified and hit the bell icon. Hit like if the video was informative.